Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Englund, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as by donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us either by donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. A reminder that this weekend, coming up August 9th, is the Kelwood Fair, August 9th parade at 11 a.m. with a car show and egg turkey supper at 5 p.m. at the community hall. And on the front cover of the paper, a rootin' tootin' good time at the McCreary Egg Society Fair on July 26th and 27th. There's several pictures there. The 2 days were bustling with activity featuring a multi-day rodeo, children's activities, a parade, a vendor's market, and live entertainment. Shown here are just a few scenes. A little festival with a big heart. Harvest Sun Music Festival prepares to mark 20 years in Kelwood by Casper Warehan. The heart of Kelwood is prepared to come alive with the sound of music this month. From August 15th to 17th, the community will host its 20th annual Harvest Sun Music Festival. And while people who attend can expect the same good fun from past years, they can also expect some changes. According to Harvest Sun Director Nadia Kuhl, attendees can anticipate this year's event to feel more intimate, more rooted, and maybe even more magical. This year, we have stepped out of the big tent and into the town itself. Evening concerts are now hosted in the Kelwood Community Hall, which we are transforming into what we have called the Prairie Portal, a whimsical space filled with music and twinkly lights, said Kuhl. We have shifted the vision to have a more place-based feel to it. The daytime music, including the Moody Manitoba Morning Workshop and a special kids show, will take place at the Kelwood Campground and is open to everyone. Kuhl added, "We're still celebrating Manitoba music with an incredible lineup, but now it is woven into the heart of Kelwood in a way that feels deeply authentic. And partnering with the Boom Chuck Old Time Music Camp leading into the festival is such a wonderful addition to the feel of the festival." Part of the inspiration for these adjustments came from a festival in Prince Edward Island known as the Festival of Small Halls, which focuses on the use of community halls as a music venue. Our inspiration has been to begin to see the spaces that already exist in the town as meaningful and really such a unique expression of rural prairie life, said Kuhl. We wanted to engage with that and the unique beauty of the prairies surrounding our village with its view of the escarpment and so close to the national park. With the event date close at hand, Kuhl shared her perspective on marking Harvest Sun's 20th year. It feels like a homecoming and a fresh start all at once. We've been reflecting deeply on what Harvest Sun truly is, and this 20th year gave us the perfect moment to listen inward and reimagine, said Kuhl. When you reach a milestone of 20 years, everyone who has been part of the festival will have a lot of memories from the past, but we are wanting to make space to also begin dreaming about new possibilities. Kuhl also remarked on the preparations made thus far, adding, "It's been a beautiful blend of planning and dreaming. We're not just organizing an event. When you curate a festival, excuse me, and you make changes, you are reshaping an experience. There has been incredible excitement and momentum behind the scenes. Everyone has been leaning in, and that feels very special. As the organizers take these last few weeks to dot their I's and cross their T's, the team is buzzing with excitement." Kuhl shared that all involved are eager to welcome the coming festival goers to Kelwood. "We're so grateful to everyone who's been part of the Harvest Sun story. Whether it's your first year or your 20th, we hope you know how welcome you are," said Kuhl. This year it feels like a threshold from something that has been so special and magical into the next beautiful phase of our little festival with a big heart. We love to see you in the Prairie Portal this year. The full details of the Harvest Sun Music Festival's event schedule can be found at www.harvest-sunmusicfest.com. And the picture shows the Orange Blossom Special performing at the 2024 Harvest Sun Music Festival. Rolling Barrage to return to Neepawa. Annual motorcycle fundraiser breaks the stigma around PTSD by Owen Devereaux. The Cross Canada ride that has become a symbol of support for veterans and first responders is returning to Neepawa this August. The Rolling Barrage is an annual event that attempts to bring awareness and break the stigma surrounding post-traumatic stress disorder in veterans and first responders. The barrage sees its participating riders make stops in communities all across the country over a 3-week period. For the 5th straight year, Neepawa will be one of those stops on Saturday, August 9th. The caravan of riders will stay in Neepawa for the night before departing in the morning on Sunday, August 10th. Funds raised from the Rolling Barrage support various programs and initiatives aimed at improving the lives of veterans and first responders. These include mental health support services, transition programs, adaptive sports programs, and educational scholarships. For more information or to register for a leg of the ride, visit the Rolling Barrage's Facebook page or website at therollingbarrage.com. The scenes shown are from the 2024 Rolling Barrage in Neepawa. The barrage will soon make its return for the 2025 run. Repeating the mistakes is avoidable, right in the center, by Ken Waddell. For many months now, we have been hearing lurid details about the 5 junior hockey players charged with sexual assault. I have no intention of trying to retell the story. We have heard enough about the details. What we haven't heard much about is how did we get into this kind of a situation and how can it be avoided in the future? There are some logical lessons to be learned, and while I don't expect some people to agree with these lessons, I do think that they still need to be strongly considered. People need to understand that sex is not a spectator sport. Neither is it a right to have a sexual relationship. It's a privilege best left to married or committed couples. The men involved in this sex trial should have learned that from a general observation of human history, along with stories from their hockey buddies, from high school friendships, or their parents. While the activities of these 5 men were deemed to be not guilty, subject to the Crown Attorney filing an appeal, I doubt that anyone would put their actions in the wise move section. Ahead of getting involved in the manner they did, they should also have learned that after consuming alcohol or other substances, a person's judgment is impaired. It's up for debate as to whether they will ever play NHL hockey again, and they have not played for a period of time now. Even if the protests of the NHL Players Association prevail, it will be nigh unto impossible to remove the stain they have put on their reputations. And then there's the psychological damage they have done to themselves. The woman involved will certainly be damaged in a number of ways. She threw caution to the wind by apparently over-consuming alcohol. And not to pick on this particular woman, but is nobody teaching or learning about not placing yourself in potentially dangerous situations? There is no excuse for the player's action. It's also difficult to find enough adjectives to explain how dumb their actions were, how stupid and selfish. After thousands of years of human activity, one would think that people would have learned that personal safety should not be intentionally put at risk. As I reflect on my years of experience and observation, society has never been successful in coping with sexuality and sexual activity. When I was young, some really dumb and naive people were pushing the free love idea. It sounded so good, but love or sex is never free. It comes with huge responsibilities and some risks. Then some of these same people pushed the idea of safe sex. Again, that was dumb and naive. There is no such thing as safe sex. There are always risks. risks of pregnancy, risks of sexually transmitted diseases, the possibility high-risk pregnancies for the mother and the baby. Sex doesn't always turn out the way one might hope. What I do know is this whole sordid hockey player mess could have been avoided. Neither the women nor the men should have put themselves in the situation. And speaking of situations, Hockey Canada completely botched handling the whole deal. They should not have settled out of court, and definitely without telling the hockey players. The police did not initially charge the 5 men, and years later the judge found them not guilty. But Hockey Canada decided that they were guilty, and that they and Hockey Canada needed to be protected by Hockey Canada funds. Funds that every hockey boy and girl in Canada contributed to with their annual fees. Hockey Canada paid a lot of money to the women involved to keep the situation out of the public eye. The women and the players may never recover from this mess. Neither will Hockey Canada. The women and the players do have the option of repenting before God and being forgiven. It's a matter of opinion if God forgives organizations. Homebodies by Rita Friesen. Rick Rack and bias tape. While sharing a delightful cup of coffee with a friend, the conversation turned, as it so often does, to long ago. Not long ago and far away, for in our memories, years long gone don't seem that far away. We were reminiscing about clothing fashions and functions. When I was a child, a dress needed to last a long time. When crafted, a deep hem would be essential, and as I grew, the hem was let down. If the fabric had worn well, it wouldn't look too obvious that several inches had appeared. Too often, the old hemline was a distinct track around the entire skirt. Rick Rack to the rescue. For those too young to understand, Rick Rack was a zigzag ribbon thing. The color, if one was fortunate, would be coordinated to the dress material. In a pinch, a carefully stitched strip of bias tape could be introduced. I can't recall that either myself or my peers kicked up a fuss about stretching a garment to last another year. Many of my generation grew up with hand-me-downs from family member on down, and if one was lucky, the line of descent could originate with a city kid. That was pure gold. My older sister and I are close in age, but weren't close in size. I relied on clothing from a skinny cousin, and her family lived in town, and her dad was a teacher. Beautiful garments passed down to me. Our chatter recalled having a school outfit and home clothes. As soon as you returned from school, you changed into your work garb. Often 1 year's outing outfit became the next year's work clothes. I can recall having a Sunday outfit and a little Sunday outfit. The second one was often last year's model, too good for school or play, but not quite good enough for church. Then we got giggling about footwear. She told of the year her feet grew so much that her father took the sturdy leather Oxfords to the local shoemaker. He extended the toe and the sole, the ugliest shoe on record, but warm, waterproof, and sensible, just not attractive. There was the year my father took me to Mr. Fell's shoe shop in Roland. It was so much more than shoes. There were clocks, leatherworks, and repairs. The shoes I absolutely fell in love with were one full size too large, and they were the only ones I wanted. I stuffed the toe with paper until I grew into them, sadly aging them well before their time, and the rubber boots that we needed to wear over the shoes. The last fit of laughter was about the sealer rings we used to keep our stockings up. Do I need to explain sealer rings? Rubber rings, red or white, that were used to seal glass jars in the canning process. We wondered how skinny our legs were to have such a device keep up those lovely brown cotton stockings, usually mended and darned. Bottom line, we were fed and clothed, warm and presentable, mostly grateful, not a bad measuring stick. Strengthen the Things That Remained. Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroschein. The life lesson I want to share this week is one I have been learning since my mother passed away. It began when one of my aunts told me that I was now one of the old people. When I asked what she meant by that, she said, "Well, both your parents have died. You are their oldest child. Your job is to look out for your family. That makes you one of the old people. I smiled then, but I have never forgotten those words. They took on additional significance after the deaths of my wife's parents. At that point, we literally became the old people in the family. Now the family came to our house for special occasions. The cooking wasn't as tasty as Grandma's, nothing ever will be, but the memories of those special days, especially Christmas 2023, will never be forgotten. Then came October 2024, and the news that one of our blended family's 4 children had suddenly passed away. This wasn't the first time I had stood with parents who were grieving the loss of a child. I heard their stories and felt their pain as they spoke of the huge hole that was left by their child's passing. But last October, I wasn't standing with someone else's family. I was standing with my own. Every member of our family, immediate and extended, changed radically the night our child died. We found ourselves dealing with a type of grief we had never faced before, and wondering how long our broken hearts could take to heal, if they ever would. Then about a month ago, I listened to an interview with grief counselor Megan Devine. She knows, having experienced it personally, how it feels to suddenly lose a loved one. She understands the inner pain and emptiness caused by this sudden change in family dynamics. She wastes no time in condemning the things friends and neighbors say that they hope will comfort those who mourn, but that often add to the pain they feel. In chapter 2 of her book, It's Okay That You're Not Okay, she writes, "Grief is not a problem to be solved. It is an experience to be carried." Those are some of the most liberating words I have ever read. Thanks to them, I am no longer troubled when I hear people tell me that they may never fully recover from the loss of a child, a parent, a partner, or a close friend. That's okay. By God's grace and with His help, each of us can carry our unique experience of grief with dignity and optimism, and allow ourselves the time we need for our broken hearts to heal. As part of this healing, we need to strengthen the relationships that remain with those who, like us, are grieving the same loss, those who worked with our loved ones, those who were part of their social circles, and the new additions, close friends, partners, and children to their families that were being welcomed into our families, and who need to know that they are still part of us and welcome to heal with us. You and I will never go through life without feeling some form of grief. But we must never allow that grief to separate us from those we love. By strengthening the relationships that remain, we can help create a world in which all people, whatever their loss and however deeply they may be hurting, can receive the hope, help, and healing they need. Out of Helen's Kitchen, TCS Foods, time, temperature control for safety. These are foods that have a high protein content, are rich in moisture, and have a low acidity. I believe most of us have a better understanding of high protein foods, but not the high moisture or low acidity ones. The more moisture a food has, the more likely it is to grow harmful bacteria. Lemonade is high in moisture. It also has high acidity, so it is not a TCS food. Tomato juice, however, has high moisture and low acidity, making the perfect combination to create bacteria. Pineapple is highly acidic, so bacteria will be less likely to grow on it if you leave it out in the open for a long time. Bacteria grows more readily on foods with lower acidity. Watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew melons have a high water content and are low in acidity, making them susceptible to bacterial contamination, especially after being cut. The rind can harbor bacteria that can transfer to the flesh during cutting. Contamination of fruits and vegetables can come from water, soil, fertilizer, wild animals, or birds, and unsanitary processing methods. Wash fruits and vegetables under running water to remove harmful microorganisms, and refrigerate leftovers immediately after eating. Do not use soap or bleach to wash fresh vegetables or fruits. These products are not intended for consumption. Peel and discard the outer leaves of lettuce and cabbage because they are likely to have more dirt and microorganisms on them. Keep cutting boards clean by washing them with hot soapy water after each use, then rinse with water and air dry. Both wooden and plastic cutting boards can be sanitized with a solution of 1 teaspoon of household bleach to 3 cups of water in a labeled spray bottle. Allow the bleach solution to stand for several minutes on the cutting boards. Rinse with clear water and air dry or pat dry with clean paper towels. Non-porous acrylic, plastic, glass boards, and solid wood boards can be washed in a dishwasher. The best wood boards to have are bamboo, as they are harder and less porous than hardwoods. Bamboo absorbs very little moisture and resists scarring from knives, so they are more resistant to bacteria than other wooden boards. To keep your food safe and your kitchen clean, just remember these 4 words: clean, separate, cook, and chill. Clean, wash hands and surfaces often. Separate, don't cross-contaminate. Cook, cook to the proper temperature and chill. Refrigerate promptly. Safe and happy cooking. And Helen's recipes this week are for a raspberry sauce and a raspberry almond coffee cake. Your Listening Ear by Dulcie Martin, inviting your partner to conversation. In my last article of Your Listening Ear, we talked about the importance of structuring and preparing a serious conversation with your partner. This article will talk about inviting your partner into conversation. These tips can really be used for any serious conversation, but we will speak in terms of relationships here. When you are inviting your partner into conversation, it's essential to approach them in an open and inviting way. The first way you can show that you are inviting them into conversation is to create an attuned environment by turning off the TV, putting away laptops and phones, closing the door, etc. You can show an open invitation by the words that you use. Ensure that they are direct and to the point. If you have a partner who is anxious about having serious conversations, you can start your invitation with, "I don't want you to worry, but I want to talk with you about our finances right now." During serious conversations with anxious partners, it can also be helpful to share with them, "I'm not going anywhere." Physically, your body posture should be open. Don't cross legs, cross arms, drop head. An open body posture makes the nervous system feel settled and is less threatening. A lot of people will mirror the body language of the person who is attuning to them, so you may find your partner adopting that same open posture, allowing for their brain to open in the same way. The couple cannot fear each other. People struggle because one or both partners have a fear of being berated, yelled at, or spoken down to. This threat could be real, in the case of mental or emotional abuse, or could be imagined. If your partner has been in an abusive relationship in the past, helpful statements could be, "I want to tackle this with you. I am not going to hurt you." Or, "I want you to feel safe talking to me right now." This can put them at ease. Adult attachment says that our attachment styles that we develop in childhood affect how we feel about and communicate in our intimate relationships. Secure attachment being the normal, it is looked at along 2 dimensions. Number 1, attachment anxiety. An anxious attachment style in childhood, caregiving and/or emotional support was inconsistent. These individuals worry that their partner will reject or abandon them and deem them unworthy of love. Number 2, attachment avoidance. An avoidant attachment style in childhood, caregiving and/or emotional support was neglectful or abusive. These individuals feel uncomfortable with closeness and connection. They can at times do a swing toward extreme independence and have trouble seeing the value of connection in intimate relationships. The motivation to address problems has 2 facets, an approach and an avoidance. An anxious attachment style fosters a tendency to consider approach, but end up avoiding. A person would like to have an important conversation with their partner, but does not because they are afraid. And an avoidance style tends to not even consider the approach. The person doesn't even consider the value of attempting the conversation, or the value isn't worth the risk and the effort. The experience of an avoidant individual is that they don't get a whole lot of reward and positive reinforcement from their daily emotional encounters. so they don't see a point in attempting with their intimate partners. Anxious individuals are surrounded by so much fear and second-guessing themselves in their daily emotional interactions that although they understand that approaching is important, they are afraid to, and ease that fear by avoiding the interaction altogether. Studies show that when a threat to the relationship occurs, avoidant individuals will distance themselves from the relationship as a protective mechanism. Anxious individuals can become clingy, and if this doesn't work, actively distance. Now that you've invited your partner into conversation, we have to have the conversation. Next time, in your listening ear, we will delve into the conversation. Delcy Martin is a registered social worker working out of the Wellness Clinic in Brandon. We Each Owe How Much by Owen Devereaux. CTF's debt clock makes a stop in Neepawa. Do you have an extra $23,000 right now hidden under your mattress or buried in a tin can in the backyard? For most Manitobans, the answer to that question is most definitely no. But if you do happen to have that extra bit of cash lying around, then congratulations, because according to the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, that means you can pay your fair share of the government debt. The Federation recently drove that point home, literally, when it brought its touring debt clock to Neepawa on Wednesday, July 23rd. The debt clock is a digital counter mounted on the side of a moving truck that shows the provincial debt going up in real time. The CTF is taking the debt clock across the province to show the debt increasing in real time. The Federation began its Manitoba tour at the Legislative Building in Winnipeg on July 22nd, with stops in Winkler, Steinbach, Neepawa, and Brandon over the course of the next few days. According to Gage Hobrick, the Prairie Director for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, the aim of the tour is to raise awareness about Manitoba's growing deficit. Hobrick explained that the debt has surpassed $35 billion and continues to increase. It's going up about $4,000 a minute, or $5.5 million a day, said Hobrick. When that amount is divided among Manitoba's population, the debt amounts to more than $23,000 per person. That's how much every single one of us in the province owes in government debt. Hobrick added that on top of the debt itself, there is also the amount of interest that accumulates over time. The government has to spend about $2.3 billion this year just on debt interest, which comes out to almost 10% of the total budget. For Manitoba taxpayers, they pay the second highest per person debt interest charges in the entire country. When the numbers reach a point such as this, it can be difficult for the average person to envision the true size and scope of the problem. That's what the debt clock is for, said Hobrick. When you see the numbers increasing at such a quick rate by almost $4,000 a minute along the side of the truck, it really puts it all into perspective. A lot of people react by saying, "I didn't realize it was this bad. Something needs to be done about it." Hobrick explained to the Banner and Press that the Federation would like to see the province decrease its spending and that individuals can assist in getting that message across to them. Every dollar Manitoba politicians rack up in debt today is a dollar plus interest that taxpayers will have to pay back tomorrow. Get in touch with your local politicians, send them an email, call their offices, or just when you get a chance to see them, tell them you are concerned about the debt. And there's two photos. Representatives with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, including Prairie Director Gage Hobrick on the right, traveled across Manitoba last week in the Canadian Taxpayers Federation debt clock vehicle. And on the lower left, the CTF debt clock shows in real time the amount of debt that is being accumulated by the provincial government. As of Wednesday, July 23rd, the amount owed by every single Manitoban was over $23,000. Local organizations receive accessibility funding by Joshua Jackson. 3 local organizations within the Westman region are receiving funding to help enhance accessibility. Last week, the Manitoba government announced it is providing $820,000 in funding to 33 organizations to help remove barriers and improve accessibility across the province. A press release by the government noted that the Manitoba Accessibility Fund is an annual grant program that provides one-time project-based grants to help nonprofit organizations, municipalities, and businesses to remove barriers, create awareness, and support compliance with the Accessibility for Manitobans Act. Criteria for receiving funding includes the project raising awareness about the prevention and removal of barriers, developing tools, resources, and training to support compliance with legislative standards, and removing barriers to information and communication electronically, in print, and in person. The Manitoba Accessibility Fund is in its 4th year and has funded 142 accessibility projects across the province worth more than $3 million. The Beautiful Plains School Division, BPSD, is getting $8,400 to improve the accessibility of the school division's website, ensuring equal access to information and services for people with disabilities. The project aims to enhance user experience for all visitors and increase awareness about accessibility issues within the organization and the broader community. The BPSD has 2,300 students and 340 employees accessing the website regularly. This project strives to create a more accessible and user-friendly digital experience for the entire community. The Minnedosa Regional Library is receiving $9,400 to acquire large print materials to meet the growing demand from patrons. According to the press release, the library will create a mobile collection for senior care facilities, ensuring those unable to visit the library can still access reading materials for education and enjoyment. The municipality of Glenella Lansdowne was given $1,500 to conduct a feasibility study to identify necessary digital enhancements for compliance with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 Level AA or higher. Neepawa needs a new approach to recreation. The time is past due to make a switch, by Ken Waddell. On June 10, 2025, a meeting was held at Neepawa's Yellowhead Center to consider the initial findings of the Neepawa and Area Recreation Facility Committee. That committee consists of Mayor Brian Headley of Neepawa, Jeff Cook of the Neepawa Curling Club, Kevin Paramore, Reeve of the RM of Glenella Lansdowne, Candace Newton representing the YHC Board, Kevin Lewandowski of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club, Jaron Davidson, Councillor of the RM of North Cypress Langford, and Jeff Henderson, Councillor of the RM of Rosedale. The committee presented 4 possible locations for a new recreation centre. In the June 13th edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press, there was an initial report on the June 10th meeting. In the June 20th edition, there was a more detailed story entitled, "It's Time to Take That Step." The sites were discussed and evaluated. Since that meeting, there have been many coffee shop discussions about the best site, but not a lot of details. Decision time is coming, and hopefully soon. This page is set up to stimulate more discussion. The background. Neepawa's Yellowhead Center was built in 1971 and opened in 1972. The hall portion was built in the early 1940s and was the warehouse for the local salt well that closed around 1968. YHC has a large capacity hall and an ice arena. The Neepawa Golf Course has been well maintained, but the general feeling is a new clubhouse would be a great addition. The clubhouse was reportedly moved to the course in 1960 and is believed to be a salvaged building for the former Neepawa Air Training Base from World War II. The Neepawa Curling Club was built in 2 phases in the 1970s and 80s. It seems to be well managed and in good condition. Last season, the Yellowhead Arena had a setback in the fall of 2024 when the ice-making plant had a breakdown that caused a delay in the hockey and skating season. It's well known that the facility needs some attention, but it's also acknowledged that the YHC is a very valuable regional asset. What about money? Let's say a new facility could be built for $25 million. It's my opinion that the town of Neepawa and partners should build sooner rather than later. If, for example, construction is delayed 10 years and the cost rose to $35 million, it would simply mean that the first $10 million of fundraising and financing would be totally wasted. Build now. What about the land? In my opinion, the best site available is shown in the picture to the right and outlined in red and labeled A. That choice would mean the Neepawa Golf Course would not be part of a combined new recreation facility. Site A is looking east of the Neepawa's new Best Western Plus Hotel. The area marked in red is one of the sites chosen for a proposed Neepawa area recreation complex. The outlined area is said to be large enough for a complex as large as the Verdun Arena plus 300 parking spaces. Why that choice? Selecting land is always a touchy subject, but the town already owns that piece of land. It's located next to the curling rink, so a new curling facility would not be needed. That could save dollars. There are 2 motels nearby, and the new hotel is adjacent to this site. There are 4 restaurants within easy walking distance, and there could be a 5th restaurant if the former Chicken Delight site is redeveloped. The site is near the downtown business core. In places like Brandon, when development was expanded out to the edges of the city, the central core declined badly. After 2 shopping malls being built on the edges over the decades, the once vibrant downtown Brandon is not thriving. What about the Yellowhead Center? It should be kept and repurposed. There has long been a stated need for basketball courts. There are nearly 25 basketball teams in Neepawa. I have been assured that the current Yellowhead Center ice surface could make 3 basketball courts. If the current seating was taken out, a walking track could be put in. The hall could still be used for large events, and the gymnastics club might be able to utilize the current lobby at the YHC, or perhaps have space in the new facility. Finding a proper home for a very large gymnastics club is a definite need. Somewhere in the mix, the YHC should have a large daycare. The waiting list for daycare spaces is estimated to be 300 spots. Even if it's half that number, it's very significant. I can see the hall being used for a daycare and as a large capacity use hall for bigger events. The area to the west of the current hall, see the area outlined in red and marked B on the second page, could be fenced off and developed into a combined use park for the daycare and the public. Does the new facility need a hall? I don't think so. If the new rec center is built at the hotel curling rink site, the Best Western Plus group, made up of 46 shareholders, plans to build a convention center that seats 300 to 400 people, have a commercial kitchen, and an additional 16 rooms. If the Best Western group is planning to build a hall, I think that's a great idea, and it helps keep costs down for a new rec center. The Yellowhead Hall can handle large events, 300 to 1,000 people. The Legion Hall can handle 100 to 150 people, and the curling rink upper hall can handle crowds of 100 or more people. Is the curling rink site big enough? At the June 10th meeting, Town of Neepawa CAO Colleen Sinchishan stated that the site has enough space to accommodate a facility with the same footprint of Tundra Oil and Gas Place in Verdun and have parking for 300 cars. Back to the money. I think the town should step out in faith and finance both the new recreation facility and the YHC. If the partners come forward in the future, that would be great, but delaying will raise costs. The project, with $25 million financed over 25 years, would require a principal and interest payments of $1.75 million per year for 25 years. Partner dollars, government grants, and fundraising could lower the cost. But be assured, delaying will only increase the cost, and quite frankly, there will be some resistance to financing by the surrounding RMs. Historic reasoning should prevail. Back in 1972, when the Yellowhead Center was built, and in the 1970s and 80s, when the Neepawa curling rink was built, there were people who opposed the expenditure. I am glad the builder-type people prevailed, and I certainly hope that same builder attitude and spirit prevails in the next few years. The new facility, the Yellowhead Center, and the Neepawa Curling Club should all come under Town of Neepawa ownership and operations. Most other Manitoba towns operate that way, and while I didn't always favor that approach for Neepawa, the time is past due to make the switch. In summary, a combined Yellowhead Center and new recreation facility would put the Neepawa region years ahead in one bold move. Communities either grow or wither, and this bold move would put Neepawa on a firm path to growth and sustainability. Rest assured, the combined facilities will need strong and experienced management. There should be an advisory board, but membership on that board must not be tied to user groups. It needs to represent a cross-season of the whole area. Tiny Tycoons being inspired at Neepawa Day Camp by Owen Devereaux. The picture shows the counselors and participants in the 2025 Neepawa Day Camp by Owen Devereaux. The youth involved with this year's Neepawa Day Camp recently learned a few of the ins and outs of being a big stakes business mogul, but in a fun-filled way. The group participated in the Biz Builders Sale Day on Thursday, July 24th at Arts Forward. The program teaches the kids all about the importance of entrepreneurship and allowed them a chance to create their own business for the week. It all culminated on Thursday when these tiny tycoons had the chance to sell their products to the public. All the proceeds brought in from the products, as well as barbecue that coincided with the sale, were combined to help cover the cost of a field trip to Turtle Crossing Water Park. In a recent interview with NACTV, Day Camp Coordinator Preston Finney explained that there was also a very important lesson to the week that they hope stick with the kids well beyond their trip to Turtle Crossing. The big idea is when you work hard, you get to have fun. Fairness for Clear Lake meeting held in Wasagaming by Banner staff. Frustration over Ottawa's boat ban at Clear Lake has hit its peak with local residents and businesses. Those frustrations were heard loud and clear on Tuesday, July 29th at an in-person town hall in Wasagaming. A large contingency of people were on hand for the event, which was organized by the group Fairness for Clear Lake. The FFCL was formed to advocate for more transparency from the federal government on what they're trying to do to solve the zebra mussel issue that has occurred at Clear Lake. The invasive species was discovered in 2023, forcing the complete closure of the lake to motorized watercraft for the past 2 years. Earlier this year, Parks Canada had announced a one boat, one lake policy to open things up a bit for the 2025 season. In May, however, that policy was unexpectedly reversed and the total ban on all motorized watercraft was put back in place. The reversal has had a profound impact on the community this summer, affecting local businesses, cabin and cottage owners, and tourists alike. In response, Fairness for Clear Lake hosted an in-person town hall and presented its findings of an independent scientific review of zebra mussel spread in Clear Lake. Details from that event, as well as local reaction, will appear in a future edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Ternier preparing to say farewell by Casper Warehan. Valley Life Recreation Chairperson Dave Ternier to step down in 2026. As the Squirrel Hills Trail Park begins its next chapter, so too does Dave Ternier prepare for his own. Ternier has been a longtime member of the Valley Life Recreation Board, which has been deeply involved in the recently completed expansion and development of Minnedosa's outdoor recreational area. Acting as board chairperson since late 2020, Ternier is now sunsetting his time with Valley Life Recreation. The official date of his stepping down is set for spring of 2026, at which time the board will choose a new chairperson. Due to my wife's work, we had to move away from Minnedosa 3 years ago. At that point in time, we were really just a year into this development and expansion project of the trails and the park out there, so I offered to the board, "Look, I'm all in to remain your board chairperson if you'll have me." And of course, they were like, yeah, please. Ternier added, "So I've been leading the organization from afar for the last 3 years, with the intention that I would see the organization through to the capital project's completion, which has taken place now. I mean, it'll be impossible to not remain involved still, but I really wanted to finish this project, and it was incredible to do. Prior to making the move to Winnipeg, Ternier and his family resided in the community of Minnedosa for almost 6 years. During his time in Minnedosa and with Valley Life Recreation, Ternier has indeed made many memories. With this came something unexpected, but wholly welcome. Never in my life did I imagine that trails would become such a huge part of my life. I'm involved with trail projects all over the place now, which has been really fun, said Ternier. Trails have become my full-time endeavor. That's been probably the biggest highlight, that I didn't realize how much a part of my life this Squirrel Hills project would end up leading to become. With respect to the expansion and development project itself, such a large undertaking naturally brought many personal highlights and takeaways. Seeing those first few trails put in and being able to walk down them for the first time, it's a feeling I'll never forget, Ternier shared. It's something that's just conceptual lines on paper or in a document, and then seeing them actually come to life is pretty incredible. Ternier added, seeing that pavilion lifted up and in person for the first time, I think most people know the feeling they get when they first pull into that trailhead, never having been there before and seeing this beautiful structure. While Ternier noted that it may seem silly for the pavilion structure to invoke such strong feelings, those feelings come from plenty of hard work, hard conversations, and difficult decisions. This included discussions on how best to implement this central focus point, if the costs were worth it, and more. With the area being a capped landfill, the ground had to be built up to be leveled as opposed to digging down. This meant bringing in approximately 2,000 yards of material. Additionally, considerations for the cost of the pavilion's concrete pad, particularly with its shape and size. Overall, it was deciding what the right things were to spend money on, especially with funders trusting the group in bringing this recreational vision to life. Another factor behind those emotions, which any visitor to the new square trailhead for Squirrel Hills may experience, is that this type of infrastructure is not typical for a trail park. When people think of trails, they just think of lines through the forest or across the grassland. They don't think of trails as being a formal park in the sense that when I roll up, there's a big parking lot. There are bathrooms, gathering areas, play areas, and skill areas, said Ternier. People don't think about that when they show up at a trail park, at a trail, because that's not normal. One of the really special things about what we've built. Ternier later added, we've built a venue for people who love trails in the same sense that a sheet of ice in someone's backyard is different from a hockey rink. We've done that with trails. Rather than just being a trail, we've built an entire facility to host that trail culture, which I think is really unique. The final highlight shared was the creation of the sign for the Ole High Skills Park. Ternier personally did the design and layout of the feature, working alongside Ole's family throughout the process. This aspect of the trail park was also deeply meaningful as it shares the story of the late Ole. Seeing it come to life in a physical form, that is definitely a huge highlight as well, said Ternier. As Ternier prepares to wrap up his time as Valley Life's board chairperson, he looks forward to continuing his dedication to trails. He aims to do this by continuing his work with Trails Manitoba and getting involved in other communities in Manitoba, especially rural communities. Currently, Ternier is actively involved in aiding the town of Neepawa and the Bison View Trails in Winnipeg. Ternier also looks forward to a well-deserved break. I definitely need a breather, he laughed. I knew the last month or so the push in getting the final major infrastructure pieces in place for the Squirrel Hills Trail Park would be a heavy lift. And it was. So I'm definitely looking forward to a few months or maybe 6 months where I can breathe a little easier. But I mean, I'm really looking forward to taking my experience with this project and finding another community that would like to have me involved in helping them accomplish something similar in a way that's a mix of volunteer and paid. If I could be a full-time volunteer, I would. But as my wife gently reminds me, it's not really sustainable. Providing a final comment, Ternier wished to express his wholehearted gratitude to the team at Valley Life Recreation. Doing this job from 2 hours away is not an easy job to do, and I could not have done it without the incredible team on the ground out there. The hours that were put into installing the signs, to doing all the trail maintenance, to managing just so much of the infrastructure installation without various contractors and all that. The team, the board there in Minnedosa have been remarkable, said Ternier. They have worked so hard on this project, and as much as I love leading a team of people, it's impossible to do a job if there's not a willing group of people who are willing and good with saying, okay, I'm going to give up these hours away from my family, or maybe even some work hours to go and get this done. So just a huge thank you to the board that has been on the ground in Minnedosa, making sure that some of my crazy, kooky ideas are able to come to life on the ground. Neepawa Titans posed a slight financial loss for 2024-25 fiscal year by Owen Devereaux. External forces beyond their control ended up having a major impact on the Neepawa Titans' bottom line. The Junior A Hockey Club held its annual general meeting on Tuesday, July 29th, and went over all their results both on and off the ice for 2024-2025. In terms of finances, the team posted a loss for the year of $11,278. Total revenue for the season was $563,535, while the expenses came in at $574,813. The club's overall long-term debt has increased year over year to $382,273. Neepawa Titans board chair Jamie Denbo said that there were a few specific issues beyond their control that were a significant cause of the loss. We had to cancel our hockey school and conduct our training camp and most of our preseason games on the road last year due to the ice plant failure at the Yellowhead Center. Those were circumstances beyond our control, beyond everyone's control. Just an unfortunate situation, said Denbo. This increased our costs while also canceling a significant fundraising opportunity for the club, which was a difference in the financials of approximately $24,000. Another factor in the numbers was the opposition that the Titans faced in the postseason in the form of the Northern Manitoba Blizzard. Being the most northerly based franchise in the league, there are extra expenses to deal with when playing the Blizzard, such as hotel accommodations and additional transportation costs. That being said, the Titans still made a profit on their opening round playoff series, but not nearly the same amount appearing against a closer located team such as the Dauphin Kings or Waiwasikapo Wolverines would have. For the year, game revenue increased to $87,095 from $73,077 in 2023-24. Travel fee revenue, $104,895, also increased year over year. On the other side of the ledger, advertising and sponsorships of $117,539 and fundraising $236,758 dropped slightly. And there's a column with the net income or losses back to 2015. The MJHL season canceled after 10 games due to reinstatement of the COVID-19 restrictions in 2020-2021. Continued on page 14. Neepawa Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson offered his evaluation on the 2024-2025 year at the AGM. He noted the team closed out the year with a winning record, 32-21-2-3, 69 points, and a spot in the playoffs for the second consecutive season. Both of these feats have not been accomplished in Neepawa since 2009-2010. Pearson added that the team will have 18 roster players returning this year, so that should have them in a good position to contend once again this upcoming season. As well, all the overage players who have wrapped up their MJHL eligibility have committed to post-secondary institutions. Pearson said being able to prepare these young men for the next phase of their lives, both on and off the ice, is very important to the organization. One other item of note related to the players is that in 2024-2025, they put in just over 1,700 hours of volunteer time throughout the community. For the upcoming year, the Titans confirmed that the hockey school, training camp, and several of their preseason games will be operated in the J&G Homes Arena in Brandon. The reason for this is that the installation of ice in the Yellowhead Center in Neepawa will not begin until late August, and it takes quite a bit of time for the ice to settle in so that it is in top-tier condition for the winter. Plumas Pirates and Portage Padres advance one again to SCBL final by Owen Devereaux. The pairing for the Santa Clara Baseball League final has been set, and it is the exact two teams that most Santa Clara fans had expected it would be. The Portage Padres and Plumas Pirates have each advanced to the championship after sweeping their semi-final series 2-0. The Padres did so by besting the Carberry Royals, while the Pirates got the better of the Neepawa Cubs. In Game 1 of the Plumas-Neepawa series, which was played on Friday, July 25th, the Pirates took advantage of a few fielding errors from the Cubs to win 10-2. That same night in Portage La Prairie, the Padres made it look easy as they cruised to a 19-0 victory over the Royals. Game 2 in both of these series ended up being much closer contests as both the Cubs and Royals returned to their respective home fields on Monday, July 30th. In Neepawa, the Plumas Pirates would jump out to an early 5-0 lead after scoring a pair of runs in the first and second innings and one more in the third. Neepawa settled in, however, and shut down the Plumas bats for the fourth, fifth, and sixth innings. It was a combination of excellent fielding by the Cubs and pitcher Zach Plett finding his rhythm on the mound that contributed to the turnaround. As well, Neepawa also started to connect to the plate, scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the fifth and one more in the sixth. The dramatic comeback was not to be, however, as Plumas added an insurance run in the top of the seventh inning to make it 6-4. Then in the bottom of the seventh, relief pitcher Nate Braun collected the final 3 outs for Plumas to secure the game and series victory. Ryland Denbo earned the win as a starting pitcher for the Pirates. With the win, the Plumas Pirates advanced to the Santa Clara Baseball League Championship for the 4th consecutive year, with them winning the league title in 2023. The picture shows the Plumas Pirates first baseman leaping up to make the grab during the second game of the semifinals, but the Neepawa Cubs would outspeed them to remain safe on first. The Cubs dropped the series 2-0. For the second straight year, it will be the Portage Padres that Plumas will face in the final. Portage secured its spot in the championship with a 7-6 win in Carberry on Monday night. Game stats were not available for publication before the banner and press publication deadline. For Portage, this is the 6th time in the last 7 years that they have advanced to the league final. The Padres are also the defending champs as they defeated Plumas in the championship in 2024. The Santa Clara Baseball League Championship will be a best-of-5 series, with the Padres having home field advantage. Game 1 in Portage La Prairie was played on Wednesday, July 30th. Game 2 will be in Plumas on Tuesday, August 5th. Start time is set for 6:30 p.m. Game 3 will be August 6th, while the 4th and 5th games, if needed, will be on August 14th and 15th, respectively. Neepawa Blue Dolphins dove into action at Swan River, submitted by Neepawa Blue Dolphins. The Neepawa Blue Dolphin was a long ride up to Swan River for the Blue Dolphins, but those who were able to attend performed fabulously. Final results of the day as follows. 9 10-year-old girls: Charlize McSimic, first in the 100-meter breast, second in 25-meter breast, third in the 50-meter breast, fourth 25-meter back, fifth 50-meter back. Julia Pollock, first 50 meters free, 100 meters IM, 50-meter fly, 100 meters free, 50 meters breast. Julia swims in Brandon with the winter swim team, so she cannot place, but what a performance. Nova Lee Menzies, first 25-meter breast, second 50-meter breast, third 25-meter free, fourth 50-meter free, and 25-millimeter back. 11-12 girls: Madeline Wahosky, first 25-meter breast, second 25-meter free, fifth 50-meter and 100-meter breast, sixth 50 meters free, 13-14 girls. Ann Crossan, first 50 meters back, 50-meter breast, 50 meters free, 50-meter fly, and 100 meters IM. 15 to 17 girls. Aaliyah Jacobson, first 25-meter fly, 25-meter breast, 25-meter free, and 25-meter back. Claire Ann Howe, second 25-meter fly, 25-meter breast, 25-meter free, and 25-meter back, fourth 50 meters free. 9-10 boys. Benjamin Wachowski, first 50-meter breast, fourth 25-meter breast, and 25 meters free. Next action was on Sunday, July 27th, when the Blue Dolphins freestyle on over to Hamiota. If your children would like to come out and try the practices, then please do. Practices are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Contact Manager Dave at Neepawa Dolphins. NeepawaDolphins@outlook.com. For results, check out the following: https://swimmanitoba.mb.ca/swimmers-programs. Minnedosa Lake placed under algae advisory by Joshua Jackson. If you were planning on heading to the Minnedosa beach this weekend, you may want to reconsider your decision, as the Manitoba government has issued an algae advisory for the lake. A notice posted to the town of Minnedosa's Facebook page stated that if large amounts of green scum are visible, it is recommended not to swim. The government notice advised beach users not to drink directly from the lake. The statement added that boiling or chlorinating the water will not make it safe. Officials warned animal owners to prevent pets or livestock from drinking the water along the shoreline, as it could be fatal. The town forewarned against eating fish from the lake that appear unhealthy. According to the Government of Manitoba website, cyanobacteria is the scientific name for blue-green algae. It can be blue, green, or brown in color and ranges extensively in size and shape. Some cyanobacteria species can potentially produce toxins that could be dangerous to people, pets, and livestock. When the Manitoba government tests the water for the algae, they look for a total cyanobacterial cell count of 100,000 cells per milliliter, and any amount below 100,000 cells per milliliter is safe for recreational activities. In the government's test results on July 28th, the cell count was $269,000 per milliliter, triggering the advisory. Town of Minnedosa's Chief Administrative Officer, Danielle Carrier, said the signage has been erected on the beach and around the campground. This weekend marks the town's annual Rock in the Fields of Minnedosa, and the CEO said that although the algae advisory is to advise beach and lake goers to take caution should the green scum be visible, there are plenty of other great activities to do in Minnedosa. The town of Minnedosa has many other amazing opportunities, whether that be visiting Squirrel Hills, Heritage Village, Bison Enclosure, Ishii Gardens, playgrounds, the new Florence Bold Memorial Spray Park, disc golf, and many trails. She added that the province of Manitoba is responsible for the body of water, and they will be monitoring and testing the lake for additional bacteria. The province will advise of any next steps. Residents of Minnedosa should not be concerned about their drinking water supply, as their water supply is sourced from wells, not from the river. Golf tournament in Arden, a great success, by Kevin Paramore. You might say, a golf tournament in Arden? Okay, it's actually a pitch and putt fun day that started back in 2006 and had been held annually up until 2019. If teeing off with hard hats, off a toilet, a spin the wheel, and putting into a muffin tin golf holes sounds fun, then please plan to attend next year. Bring friends and your best pot of chili. Seriously, let's face it, non-serious golfers need only apply. There were over 50 golfers registered for the 10-hole fun event and approximately 80 people for the chili supper. This year's event, held on July 19th, was a little extra special. This year, the event was renamed the Brent Hunter Memorial Party and the Park Fun, Golf, and Chili Cook-Off. Brent always enjoyed this event and was a key member of the community, always volunteering his time and energy and fun whenever it was needed. This event also coincided with an idea to dedicate a flower bed in memory of Brent. In true Brent fashion, instead of making something new, friends and volunteers and community members of Arden repurposed the plant bed located adjacent to the curling rink on Lansdowne Avenue. The project is almost complete. A sign indicating "In Memory of Brent Hunter" is in the works and will be placed at the plant bed soon. 3rd Year's a Chard for the White Mud Music Festival by Joshua Jackson. Music lovers, mark your calendars. Arden's popular White Mud Music Festival is set for its highly anticipated 3rd annual event, returning August 22nd to 23rd, 2025. What started in 2023 has quickly become a regional favorite, with organizer Robert Cameron calling its rapid growth hard to believe. The time has flown by. Our host committee is proud of how fast this event has become a quality product that is seeing lots of return attendees and is growing rapidly each year, said Cameron. We are fully expecting another boost in attendance for this year's festival as well. This year's edition of the festival is jam-packed with many acts, including returning favorites, the B-34s from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and newcomers including Mandy Ducharme and the Absolute Bees, Just for Kicks, and Dan Lussier. It's truly amazing the amount of talented musicians out there. We have bands reaching out to us now to get in the lineup as they have heard positive things from previous acts who have played the festival, he said. The closing night of the White Mud Music Festival features a crew of cover bands playing the classics. Hip to be Square will be holding down the stage with a Huey Lewis and the News set. Ramble Tamble will be covering all of Creedence Clearwater Revival's biggest hits, and the Main Street Exiles will close the festival out with a tribute to the Rolling Stones. Cameron thinks that people who are on the fence about attending this year's festival should consider attending and seeing what they have to offer. From the beginning, the host committee has tried to keep it an affordable weekend for people. While some of the bigger festivals cost $300 or more per person, we are at $80 a person if bought before the event, and camping is included in that price, he said. We also keep our adult beverage price down and don't try to break the bank for people. We have great food trucks on site. The music festival has quickly grown throughout its life. Attendance at the festival doubled last year from the first edition, and the group received plenty of positive feedback from attendees and musicians. I had a gentleman from Brandon tell me he had been going to some of the area's bigger festivals for over 20 years and was loving our festival as much, if not more, than the others, which was nice to hear. Each year, the festival raises funds for the Arden Curling Club, but this year the festival is also donating a portion of the proceeds to juvenile diabetes. Cameron says it takes a small village to put on this music festival, and he's grateful for the growth and everyone who pitches in to make it happen. We want to thank our supporters, volunteers, and local businesses that have helped us so far, said the organizer. Without all of the support, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. We hope to see everyone August 22nd and 23rd in Arden for the White Mud Music Festival. The picture shows Rattlesnake Suitcase in a Guns N' Roses tribute at the 2024 White Mud Music Festival. Multicultural Day hosted in Neepawa. A large picture shows Neepawa and Area Immigrant Settlement Services hosting a Multicultural Day festival at Neepawa's Riverbend Park on July 26th, starting at noon. The event invited members of the public to celebrate beauty and diversity in the heart of Neepawa with live song and dance performances, crafts, henna, face painting, and more. Plumas Resident awarded Coronation Medal by Joshua Jackson. Between the hustle and bustle of the Plumas Fair on Saturday, July 26th, MP Dan Mazier made time to laud a well-deserving citizen with the King Charles III's Coronation Medal. Wendy Denbo was awarded the medal for her volunteerism with many organizations around Plumas. Denbo has taught across 3 school divisions and has helped lead figure skating programs, 4-H clubs, Sunday school, and confirmation classes at her church. The award winner helped develop youth events like the Pine Creek School Division Junior High Curling Bonspiels, while finding time to educate the public on behalf of Central Plains Cancer Care Services. Denbo is a natural-born leader, serving as director of the Big Grass Community Foundation, lending her talents to the Plumas Terry Fox Run, and organizing fall suppers in her community. Denbo has also served as a member of the Legion and Ladies Auxiliary for 50 years, serving terms as President, Zone Deputy Commander, and Zone Commander. Congratulations to Wendy Denbo for the well-deserved honor. And the back page features the Plumas Fair. The town of Plumas showed big-time spirit as it hosted its annual fair over the weekend. The event kicked off on Friday with a Santa Clara Baseball League playoff game, while Saturday featured a pancake breakfast, parade, kids' activity, and fireworks to end the event. Pictured left, this young fellow had a great bout of fun while using the large inflatable slide that was available. In the middle, the local Legion was one of many groups and businesses that took part in the parade portion of the event. Here, some of the Legion representatives share bright smiles as they pass by. And on the right, many of the attending youths took part in the available kids' activities. Seen here are but a few from the fair's crowd doing just that. Thumbs up, thumbs down. A thumbs up to the crews of the town of Neepawa taking care of the south side of Highway number 16 approaching Neepawa from the west. You're doing a meticulous job. I am well aware of the challenges of this strip over the years. Veterans Way is a pleasure to walk. Thumbs down for the current state of the streets. We all know how bad the roads are, but the town of Neepawa is talking about a new recreation facility and school. Why not put that money first into infrastructure? You can't barely drive here anymore. Also, start giving fines to those scooters using sidewalks. It's incredibly annoying. Editor's note: currently there are no bylaws in place for the enforcement related to those types of scooters. In the spring, I had posted about the streets in Neepawa, and the town posted back, bragging about all the streets they were fixing. Well, it's nearing the end of summer, and I don't see anything being done. The hospital street is awful. The junction of 16 and 5th by Dairy Queen is a mess, and so on and so on. It's time the residents of Neepawa start complaining. Denny, the apparent operations manager for the town, had his workers go down the back lane of our street and hack at a tree, not even cutting the branches to the trunk. And a bush, same thing, just random cutting of branches that were apparently impeding the back lane. Well, unless those two items were 100 feet long, they didn't impede anything. Instead of beautifying things, you are mutilating them and leaving it up to the homeowner to fix. Thumbs down to the person or persons that felt they had the right to go on private property and pick our chokecherries. Shame on you. If you were all that desperate to pick them, you could have asked. And P.S., you missed a few. Congratulations to Neepawa Settlement Services for organizing the multicultural celebration last Saturday. Booth members and performers were pleased with the venue and would support this as an annual event. And finally, the Verdun Demolition Derby will be on August 17th, and also the Verdun Rodeo Tailgate Party. And there's several mentions of this in the Verdun Empire Advance, enclosed as an insert in the Neepawa Banner press this week. Thank you.